From the MiG-21's final flight in India to Trump smiling at China while slamming India with tariffs. Taiwan, Europe and India shut their mailboxes to America. And India readies strict new tax rules for digital data. This week it's all about endings, clashes and big shifts. Good morning and welcome to Top of the Morning by Mint, your smart daily briefing on what matters. From big moves in business to headlines shaping India and the world. We cut through the noise so you start your day informed and ahead. Let's get into it. It was an end of an era on August 25th as the Indian Air Force began its final goodbye to the MiG-21, the iconic Russian-made fighter jet that's been in service since 1964. Air Chief Marshal Amarpreet Singh marked the moment with a flight alongside the last squadron still operating the aircraft, number 23 Squadron, also known as the Panthers. Leading the farewell formation was Squadron Leader Priya, a symbolic nod to both tradition and change in the force. The MiG-21 will officially retire on September 26th after nearly 6 decades of service. For generations of pilots, the jet has been a rite of passage, rugged, reliable and demanding. The MiG-21 has been the workhorse of the Indian Air Force. My first flight was in 1985. It was simple yet remarkable, though it demanded rigorous training. The Air Chief Marshal recalled. Inducted in 1964, the aircraft has been at the center of India's aerial strength for decades. Its retirement closes a storied chapter in Indian Air Force's history, making way for newer and more advanced fighters. It was a curious mix of warmth and warning from the Oval Office. On Monday, President Donald Trump declared the US will have a great relationship with China, even as he boasted Washington holds incredible cards that could destroy Beijing if played.
We're going to have a great relationship with China. I mean, it's happening. You see it. It's happening.
Sitting beside him was South Korea's President Lee Jae-myung, as Trump sent a softer signal to China while keeping the heat firmly on India. Here's the thing. India is staring at a 50% tariff wall. Trump's order, citing India's sharp jump in Russian oil imports from under 1% before the Ukraine war to nearly 42% after, triggered the move. He argued New Delhi was making huge profits from cheap Russian crude and should pay the price. Half the tariff hike is already in place, and the rest kicks in this Wednesday. India has pushed back, saying it is being singled out for something several other countries are also doing. The irony? China, the world's biggest buyer of Russian oil, has avoided such penalties. Instead, Trump recently gave Beijing a 90-day extension on its own tariff deadline. Meanwhile, China continues to face separate U.S. duties tied to fentanyl-related imports, bringing its overall tariff load to about 30%. Trump's Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent downplayed Beijing's Russian oil purchases as suboptimal but not severe enough to punish. For India, though, the countdown is almost over. By midweek, the full weight of Trump's 50% tariffs will hit. Yesterday, President Donald Trump called the U.S.-China relationship very important and even said America would welcome 600,000 students from China. He added that the U.S. was making a lot of money from China, thanks to tariffs and trade. But here's what it blew up. Trump's own base wasn't happy. MAGA loyalists, usually his strongest supporters, erupted online. To them, the idea of more Chinese students felt like betrayal, especially from a president who has built his second term on an America First promise. One self-described patriot wrote, 331,000 Indian student visas already. He'll staple a green card to their diplomas. His plan is to make ethnic Americans the serf class. Another fumed, why are we not acting like China is the adversary they are? Their number should be 0. An InfoWars host, Harrison Smith, tore into Trump with insults, accusing him of selling out Americans. For context, 277,000 Chinese students were enrolled in U.S. universities during the 2023-24 academic year, but numbers dipped afterward. Earlier this year, Trump's Secretary of State Marco Rubio had announced tighter visa rules for Chinese nationals, promising stricter scrutiny and even revocations. which is why the president's sudden no to 600,000 Chinese students struck many as contradictory. Trump may see education as a bridge. His base sees it as a loophole. One by one, America's mailboxes are closing to the world. On August 25th, Taiwan's National Postal Service, Chung Hua Post, announced it was suspending all commercial mail to the U.S. starting August 26th. The move follows Washington's decision to scrap its de minimis exemption, a rule that had allowed goods worth up to $800 to enter duty-free. Here's what it means. Every international package bound for the U.S., no matter how small, will now face customs duties under the IEEPA tariff framework. Postal carriers are being tasked with collecting and remitting those charges. Taiwan isn't alone. Just days earlier, India's Department of Posts stopped sending parcels to America, allowing only letters, documents, and small gifts under $100. Customers with existing bookings were told to claim refunds. Europe's postal services have also paused deliveries, citing confusion over the new system. For millions of small businesses and families relying on postal networks, the change is massive. A $30 book or a $50 shirt sent abroad could now carry unexpected duty bills on arrival. What Washington calls a fairness move against cheap imports, others see as a chokehold on global e-commerce and personal exchange. As of this week, the U.S. isn't just raising tariffs, it's effectively cutting off the world's post. India's new Income Tax Act 2025 will kick in next April, and the Central Board of Direct Taxes, CBDT, is already moving to smoothen the transition. Board member Ramesh Narain Parbat told Mint that a standard operating procedure will soon be issued on search and seizure rules, especially to guide officials on handling digital records. The announcement comes after tax professionals flagged concerns over vague language around access to digital data. Parbat, however, insisted that nothing new has been added. These are not additional powers. These were already available. They have been spelt out in a clearer, explicit form. Under the old 1961 law, taxpayers had to provide books of accounts and certain electronic documents. The new law goes a step further, stating that officials may override access codes to enter computer systems or virtual spaces if passwords are not provided. Parbat stressed that citizens' rights remain protected, and confidentiality provisions under Sections 258, mirroring Section 138 of the old Act, ensures taxpayer data cannot be shared outside the law. The SOP is meant to bring consistency across the country, avoid discretionary use of power, and give taxpayers predictability. A parliamentary committee has already cleared the revised wording, confirming it doesn't expand powers beyond existing judicial rulings. Meanwhile, a CBDT committee has reviewed over 1,000 suggestions on aligning rules with the newer Act, pruning redundant ones. All revised rules and forms are expected to be notified by year-end, ahead of the law's rollout. That's all for today. Thank you for joining in. We're eagerly looking forward to our next Top of the Morning episode, which will be packed with the latest news. Until then, this is Nelson John signing off. Have a great day.